Hey everybody, I'm trying to make a quick video to reteach the solving percent problems using proportions. Today we'll do proportions, tomorrow we'll do percents, and then we're actually going to move on using these same notes because I think the notes I made for you guys, without me being there, is going to be really rough to go over. So we're going to try something a little bit easier. So as you can see, we have solving percents, problems using proportions, so your key is there are 4 parts to every proportion. And we've talked about this before. There's the part. Oh, won't need my pen. Our part over our whole equals our percent over 100. And I didn't give you guys this because I don't always like giving this because it's sometimes confused depending on how the problem is worded. But keywords to look for. So when you see the word part, you're always looking for the word is in a word problem. And when you see the word whole, you always looking for the word of. And we'll talk about what equal means in a little bit. So there are 3 types of percent proportion problems. There are problems where you're trying to find the part. There are problems where you're trying to find the whole. And there are problems where you're trying to find the percent. I'm going to show you an example of each of them, and we'll talk about the wording that's going on in it. So example 1, it says, what is 20% of 25? So they've given you the percent. As you can see here, we got our percent. And if it's saying of 25, that means they gave us our whole. So this one here is our whole. Well, let's see, not write it actually right there. Because of that of, we know that this is our whole. So that means we're trying to find our part. So now we can set up our proportion. And we're going to say, we're trying to find, I'm going to use x over 25, because that's our whole, because we're trying to find what is 20% of 25. And we're going to put our 20 as our percent over 100. And now we're going to go ahead and figure out, how do I get from here to here? I multiply by 4. So I'm going to do the same, went the wrong way, divide by 4, because we're going the opposite direction. So we're dividing by 4 because I'm going the opposite way. How do I get from 100 to 25? Divide by 4. So then how am I going to get from 20 to x? We're also going to divide by 4. 20 divided by 4 equals 5. So x equals 5. And you could have said 20 divided by 100 is 0.2, and then multiply that by 25, and that would have gave you 0.5. Gave you 5 as well. The answer is 5. Now we have 18% of, so we know we got our percent here. And it says of what is 25. So of is what we're trying to find, because it says of what. So we're trying to find the whole. So we're trying to find our whole. And when it says is 27, that means that our part. So our part is 27. Our whole we don't know. We're trying to find that. And we have 18 over 100. So how do we get from here to here? And it's going to be the same from here to here. Well, we got to figure out, what do we multiply 18 by in order to get 27? Well, to figure that out, we'll say 27 divided by 18. Which gives us 1.5. So 1.5 times 18 gives us 27. So we're going to say 100 times 1.5. And that's going to give us an x of 150. Now, what percent of 240 equals 60? Well, obviously, we're trying to find what percent, so we're finding the percent this time. And we have of 240, so what percent of 240 is 60? So the is 60 part, again, when you see that is and then a number, that's going to be your part. We have of 224, so that's our whole. And we have our what is our percent, and what went with the percent, so that's what we're trying to find. So we have 60 over 240 equals a percent over 100. And our percent, we're going to just leave as x because we don't know what it is. So now we're going to say, how do I get from here to here? So I need to know how I got from here to here. Well, I'm going smaller, so I know I'm dividing. So I need to take 100 divided by 240. Divided by 240, which gave us, an ugly number. 0.416 repeating. And we're going to take that number that we got on our calculator and multiply that by 60. And that should give us an x of 25, which also means that it is 25%. Remember, we have to label 25% for this one. All right, so the next step is going to be solving these 1 through 8, but I want you to pause on that and go ahead and start filling out the notes for percent equations, and then you're going to do 1 through 8 on here, and that is your homework for the rest of the day. So let's go over what are percent equations. Now, there are key words. Again, we kind of just talked about this in the last section. Is goes with the equal sign for the equations. Is means equals. Of means multiplies. Multiply. And what means your variable. So to solve percent equations, you must first translate the sentence into a mathematical equation. Oop. I think, oh gosh, I can't write today, guys. Sorry. And I think that's what a lot of you guys were struggling with, is translating into a mathematical equation. So when do you not know the part? So it says what is, and we said is means, and let me move this down, is means equals. So what is 72% of 95? And of means multiply. So we're going to say what means our x equals, and our 72%, we're going to turn into a decimal, 0.72, or you can just say 72 over 100 times 95. Or we're going to use, and we're not going to use the x for times because that gets confusing when we're using x as our variable. So let's erase that and put our dot that we've been using. Interesting. And we're going to cross this out because it won't let me erase it. And there you go. We're going to use the dot instead. So again, what is our x? Is our equal sign. 72% will be obviously our 72%, or 72 over 100, or 70.72. Of is our multiply, and 95. So we're going to say 0.7, our x will equal 0.72 times 95, which gives us 68.4. 68.4. All right, and that's rounded. So there you go. Now let's try what if you don't know the whole. So again, it has 14.4. And we have is, which we said is means equals. Our 90%, which is 0.9 as a decimal, or 90. Of, we said, was multiply. What we said was our variable, because we don't know the number. So 14.4 equals 0.9 or 0.90 times x. So if we want to undo multiplication, we have to divide. So we're going to divide it by 0.9 on both sides. And we get a 16 is what x is. These cancel each other out, leaving just x. All right, now if we need to find our percent. So what which means we have our x percent of was multiply. So we're going to multiply 120 is 54. So we need to say x, which is going to be our percent, times 120 equals 54. So we're going to say, well, we're multiplying, so don't do multiplication. We need to divide. This will give us 1, so now we're left with just x equaling 54 divided by 120. Equals 0.45. Now remember, when we get a decimal, we need to multiply that by 100 to get it to be a percent of 45%. Now, this is the way that another way to think about it. I know other teachers teach it this way. This might help some of you guys. If the way I taught it before makes more sense, stick with that. Stay with the way we were doing it before, but this is just another way. So now you're going to solve all 18 of these problems. We have the 8 down here, 16, sorry, 8 down here, and then 8 up here. It should be pretty simple, straightforward, and that's what you got the rest of the class to do. Then we're going to start going over a different setup tomorrow, so make sure you get all your work caught up because I really don't want to put those zeros in, guys. See you later.